On to the next project, and that's making a support for a little device I got to act in lieu of having a Bluetooth in the motorhome. I am going to cut this apart, try to make a bracket, and see what the end result's going to be. It's a little bit thicker than what I really wanted, but this I've had on hand from a crate that I took apart. We're going to see. Stay tuned. Step one, find some metal. This is about an inch wide, a little bit less than an eighth of an inch thick. Put it in a vise. Bend it at 3.5 inches, and then you'll have to bend it again. In this case, I'm using a piece of leftover 1x1 tubing, so I'm going to attempt that. As you can see, I got it in the vise, clamped, ready to try to bend. Working alone, so I got to put the camera down constantly, but you get the gist. Yes, I can only bend it so far, so now I have to take it out of the vise and actually clamp it in and try to bend it around that, and then beat it into place. By clamping it in the vise, you can see, I should be holding this, but you can actually tighten this down and change the degree of angle that you want for your piece. Take it down to a point, you can always bend this back. It's actually pretty light steel. I'm going to actually try to make this a little bit tighter of a bend. This is from squeezing it in the vise. But I'm going to beat on this around this tube and just square this up a little bit, and then I will pull it apart to get the angle that I need to mate with this piece right here. This is one piece that's done. And you can see it's not the best, but you'll see the end result here in a little bit. This is after I hammer it on the vise, and you can see it's a little bit tighter of a bend. I just need to now take this clamp off, take the tube out, and spread this apart slightly to get the same angle as this one right here. Continuing on with the project of making a bracket to fit into the RoadTrek motorhome console. This is the device right here. I actually recessed the bars using my router, as you'll see, and actually fastened with a couple screws. And I actually counterbored or drilled 4 holes, or not all the way through, for the little mounting feet of this soundbar. This is an Ion meeting mate. It's a Bluetooth device for your phone. So what I wanted to do, if you'll see these bars, to coincide with this center console for the drink cup holder, this is what I decided to do. By making the bracket and wedging it in here, it's not about to go anywhere. But I can also remove it anytime that I want, or I can shuffle it to either side if I wanted to. But now this sound bar will fit right there in those little feet. There's a charging port on this side when you want to charge it. So I've got a cigarette, the old cigarette lighter here. I decided instead of like a 2009, this is a 2007 RoadTrek, where I had bought the USB, like a dual port USB that I had to wire in. I decided to use this instead. I got 2 of these, less than $9. So this is good for charging the phones, or for this device, for example. This is actually a 12 volt device. Well, 12 volt, it'll charge or it'll convert to that. So anyway, it actually comes, I think, with a 6-foot cable, believe it or not. But I will just use a short cord probably to get into the cigarette lighter for the adapter when I want to charge this thing. But I wanted to still use this bottom tray for either my cell phone or some other devices, like here's some gum, for example. Or maybe this is a transponder for going through the tolls up in Chicago. That'll fit down there. But I wanted to free that up, but still be able to get access to the drink cup holders. This is a Gatorade bottle. I don't have a coffee cup with me, but there you can see that fits. Water bottle fits. Hand cleaner fits, if you want to put it that way. So that's my fix for this sound bar. I tried the sound bar up here, and it actually worked over to the left. But this, of course, the view isn't obstructed at all in the front of you, but you still have to have that mounted somehow with Velcro or something, and I didn't want to do that. So I could have used the stand that it came with. That's this device right here, and that'll fit on the end. You can stand it up, and you can actually rest it on here, or and then maybe on the floor. but it'll rock. It'll still move. I wanted something that's going to be a little bit more secure, so going down the road. This way it's not tied down. I can take it off. I can move it to the back of the home where I'm sitting or residing, watching TV or whatever. Soundbar kicks in. It's easier than having an earbud or holding the phone in your hand. But the thing is, this is Bluetooth, and so driving down the road with the two speakers that are in here, it more than is adequate, because I couldn't tap into the original speakers that were RoadTrek designed, like up in that corner there. The original 5-speaker surround sound system went belly up, so I replaced it. So this is the original radio that's in here. It's got a CD player. I don't know if it works just yet, but you can get these, or probably a dime a dozen. But I didn't want to obstruct the view, and as you can see, there's no interference with any controls, up or bottom, air conditioning or whatever. So it gives me access underneath for storage. Water bottles, coffee cup will fit in here without any. It doesn't affect the cigarette lighters for the 12-volt adapters and so on. And the thing is, this isn't bolted in. Both the meeting mate as well as the stand is an easy, as much as taking it like that if you want to. And you got a different shelf if you want. Or you can just take the thing out with the taper on here, which is indicative of the curvature of the inside of this cubby hole. By forcing this in here, it actually is a friction fit. More than adequate. It's not going to go anywhere. And so I'm perfectly happy with what this is going to do for me. Next is a road trip, I guess. Stay tuned. Today's project for the motorhome is to do an add-on to the shelf that I made to support a Ion meeting mate soundbar for the Bluetooth phone. Instead of buying something, I'm going to come up with a bracket, and hopefully we'll see when I get done. Before I do, you'll see how this bracket aligns. Bracket, brace, whatever you want to call it, the support for the camera. Because the problem is with the phone that I'm holding in my hand, the case, the outer case by Otter, is 3.5 inches wide. So your conventional holders without the case go up to about 3.2 inches, which causes it to be extremely forceful to try to secure this phone. So with the Otter case, I've had it sitting in storage, wondering if I was ever going to use it. I think it's made to attach to your belt, which it can still do. But in this case, this will be an easy on and off fix for the phone, hopefully. You can see that with this secured, I was able to use, because of the length of this underside, I was able to secure this end using two of the original screws that I had for holding the brace in place. So I mounted a couple extra in here. So with it flipped over as such, and with the meeting mate in place, if I can get this lined up here, the Otter holder with a spring clip, this one right here, fits into this notch as such. I'm about to stop this and go over to the motorhome and see what it looks like. I decided to modify my support for the addition of two cell phone mounts, left or right. I started out with making a bracket. This is too light, so I was going to make it out of heavier steel, but I decided to extend this board, the shelf, for the meeting mate, make it a little bit longer, and you're going to see the results here after a little bit. I'm trying to decide what to do. I had some leftover rod that I took out of actually an attic ladder. These were supporting the steps in the attic ladder, so I kept these. This is probably 3/16 rod threaded on the end. I might try to come up with something. An option is to make a different one of these. This is still 22 gauge and it's sort of flimsy, but even if I anchor this or make this bend shorter to mount on top of here, that's an option. The other choice I thought about overnight was, because of that rod, is to bend it similar to what I had done with the other bracket, and I'm going to see what this is going to look like when I get done. Form it into this U, and it should hopefully conform to the clip that's on the back of this outer case right here, the width of that clip. Well, I have since modified my original shelf for the meeting mate right here. This box is left over. I mean, that's the case or the cover, the sales, whatever case for the clip-on Otter case that fits my Samsung phone. So you can see what I've done. This is a work in progress, but I've made this bracket so that it's angled so that sitting in the driver's seat, I can actually look at this, swipe the button on my phone to answer the phone, since this is not like some of your newer vehicles where you can hit your activated button on your steering column and so on, and get full access to your Bluetooth phone. Well, I have to swipe my Samsung phone in order for the Bluetooth to activate. So this will act as a spot to secure this. I made it out of about 16 gauge plate that I had left over. Still notched it. This is notches for the clip to sit in here. On the back of this clip, where my finger is at, there's a clip there. So this will rest on here, and then that way prevent it from rocking back and forth or sliding back and forth. So like I said, this is a work in progress. This side is off a little bit by my choice to do that for the passenger to get a little bit better access to it. So I'm going to take a drive and see what this will do. But for now, this is a fix for Bluetooth phone. This bend profile was the same as my original bracket, this one right here. But right where this bend is here, where it comes out from the front of the console, where I put the enough area for the shelf to mount in place, that's where I made this bend. And bottom line is I went up about half an inch, but you can see where the height of this flat is going to be. It's 2.5 inches off the straight edge. And that's going to be the same for both of these. And now I have to just cut this to the same length as about this distance here for my shelf. And drill a couple holes to try to mount this and see how it'll fit. Sitting from the driver's seat, I have revised the two brackets that hold this shelf. I've modified the shelf, actually, given it a radius on the inside edge here and there to cut the corner back to, I don't know, just for my own reasons, I guess, just to give it a different look. I'm going to end up painting these brackets, the one there, I actually shortened that, the height of that one, as well as this side. But by raising the bracket up, it gave me a little bit more clearance, for the tops of the bottles, to include the water bottle or my coffee cup, which I don't have with me. But if you can see this adequately enough, I'm sitting in the driver's seat, basically how you would if you're sitting in here. And as you can see in here, as I zoom in, you can see all the controls for the radio, which is fine. The air conditioning vent clears the top of the phone, and actually on a hot day it would actually keep the phone a little bit cooler anyway, which is pretty cool. But from the left, you can see the tow mode button. And so if I wanted to, if it really bothers me, I can always shift this device left or right of center. Remember, the inside, I made the supports for this, they're only 4 inches apart center to center. So there's plenty of flexibility in that shelf in order to move it left or right. For example, if I shift it over now because it's too close to the steering knob, famous last words, a lot easier, like I said, it's a friction fit. But I just shifted it over just a half an inch. And so the tow mode button's a little bit clearer. Main thing would be the shift lever. And so when you pull it forward and shift it down, that you're not interfering with the phone. More than adequate. And so I'm going to probably dress this up and spray paint the wood a little bit with some, not spray paint, but use my fruit wood stain, similar to the other some of the other items that are in here, so everything matches. And for day. Today is September 1st, 2021. I'm in my 2007 RoadTrek Versatile, 210 Versatile. And I am now done with the shelf for what I'm going to do. Um, for the Bluetooth option for this particular motorhome, using an ion meeting mate, I made a shelf, and I actually redid the wood portion. I used a different piece of oak, cleaned up little mistakes that I had made. But I had also offset this particular Otter carrying case for my cell phone. I offset it a little bit to the left, about an inch to the left of the left edge of the ion meeting mate. And the one on the right side doesn't have the catch. And what I'm referring to is on the right side of this case, there is a trip lever for the phone to release it. The other side doesn't have it. So on this side, I've got another Otter carrying case that's going to go over there. The left side has plenty of clearance, so I wanted to make it look a little bit more uniform. But anyway, this wraps up the project for my 2007 RoadTrek. I know I'm repeating myself, but Ion Media Mate, it actually plays music from your cell phone, but it acts as a Bluetooth device driving down the road versus replacing the original RoadTrek, well, actually Chevy Express van radio that was in here. I didn't want to spend $500 to $1,000, which is what the going price is for the limited electronics today. But I've got a Bluetooth now, and this. I've played it. I put 100 miles on the other day and used it twice. I know I'm repeating myself probably in a prior post I did. But this wraps up, like I said, the option for positioning a Bluetooth feature. Doesn't look bad in the motorhome. It's 14 inches long, 2 3/4 inches tall. It's triangular in shape. But from the driver's side, you'll see clear access, if you will, to the controls on the radio. The tow button, as far as shifting with the shift lever, my right hand isn't going to be hitting the cell phone case. And if anything, I can always bend the bracket a little bit more, lean it on the top closer to the console. But with the phone sitting inside of this holder, I'll be able to catch the air conditioning duct to keep the phone cool, if you will, or other features. So hope this will help somebody else if you're trying to come up with an option for Bluetooth in your RoadTrek prior to 2007, probably 2009, 2010, when they started putting Bluetooth and backup cameras into these motorhomes.